President Joe Biden's grim assessment of a world facing the biggest risk of nuclear, quote, Armageddon since the Cuban Missile Crisis appears to edge beyond the boundaries of current U.S. intelligence assessments. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani has more.
White House spokesman Karine Jean-Pierre and U.S. security officials say there's no evidence of imminent plans for a Russian nuclear strike.
He was reinforcing what we have been saying, which is how seriously we take these threats.
It's not the first time the president's appeared to push against the margins of U.S. policy. In March, he twice made remarks about Putin that the White House had to walk back.
I think he is a war criminal. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Last month, he told CBS's 60 Minutes U.S. forces would defend Taiwan if China invaded. U.S. policy does not say whether American troops would respond to a Chinese attack. The White House later said there is no change to that policy. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Iran said Friday an investigation into the death in custody of Mahsa Amini found she died of illness rather than reported beatings that sparked 3 weeks of bloody protests. Amini, who was 22, died on September 16th. That was 3 days after falling into a coma following her arrest by Iran's morality police. She had allegedly breached the Islamic Republic's strict dress code for women. Anger over her death has triggered the biggest wave of protests to rock Iran in almost 3 years, and a crackdown that has killed dozens of protesters and seen scores arrested. Despite security personnel using lethal force, the protests have continued for 21 consecutive nights. VOA. Officials in Europe have praised the awarding of this year's Nobel Peace Prize to activists standing up for human rights and democracy in Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. But authorities in Belarus are scorning the move. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma has the story.
Staff at the Ukrainian Center for Civil Liberties expressed their joy after being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Volodymyr Yavorsky, a researcher there, says the team have kept working during the period of turmoil in his country.
We did a lot of work against the war, against crimes against humanity, and against human rights violation in our country.
While Tatiana Glushkova, from another of the three winners, the Memorial Human Rights Defense Center, says she hopes the award has an effect on Russians.
It is important for the world. It is important for people in Russia.
The activists all stress the importance of democracy and human rights. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The United Nations Human Rights Council on Friday renewed the mandate of its fact-finding mission in Venezuela, an initiative that Caracas has criticized as an aggressive tool for interfering in domestic matters. The renewal of the mandate, created in 2019 to assess alleged human rights violations committed in Venezuela since 2014, was approved by 19 votes to 5 against and 23 abstentions. This during a council session in Geneva. The mission's work will continue for another 2 years. Those opposed were Cuba, Bolivia, China, Eritrea, and Venezuela itself. In the United States, prosecutors in the trial of 5 so-called Oath Keepers members on Friday showed a jury fresh evidence that the right-wing militia group's founder, Stuart Rhodes, told his followers ahead of last year's U.S. Capitol attack on January 6th that there would be a bloody war if then-President Donald Trump failed to reverse his 2020 election loss. In numerous text messages, online postings, and speeches shown as evidence, Rhodes promoted the use of force and implored Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act. That's a 19th century U.S. law that empowers presidents to deploy troops to quell civil unrest. U.S. President Biden's administration released a new Arctic strategy on Friday as the strategically and environmentally important region suffers worsening effects from climate change and sees increased international competition. Global warming is melting Arctic ice, opening previously closed areas to navigation and creating new opportunities for countries such as the United States, Russia, and China to vie for resources and influence.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.